What's up, everybody? Renfail here, and today I want to talk about something that has nothing to do with the gameplay of Star Wars Outlaws, but the accessibility options, because I think that Massive and Ubisoft and everybody behind this game deserves praise for making a game that is one of the most accessible titles I've seen in recent years in terms of all of the options that they provide players with out of the gate. What do I mean by that? Well, let's get rid of my head here and let's press start and go into a new game. And when you go do a new game, you're going to be prompted to go into these accessibility settings. These are all going to pop up for you as you go through the game. You're going to start off with the text to speech, which is on by default. So things like background colors, sound subtitles, background speech subtitles, visual cues, all of these things are on by default. So they are making sure that if you do have some needs when you log into the game, that you already have this turned on immediately, and then you can go in and start to customize things from here. We have all of these contextual choices that you can make based on what it is that you need additional help with. So we can start with the hearing because this is the first one you're going to come across when you log into the game. And then they go from there into the vision options. So we can see that you can have them off, on, or have it be custom. I've left everything at default just because that's why I'm playing. So you're going to see the custom options selected in all of mine. But if you have them on, it says a group of common settings that will make menus and gameplay easier to see and have cinematics and menus read out for you. All of these and more can be changed throughout the settings menu once you get into the game as well. So they've got audio descriptions, menu narration, interface text size, increased contrast colors. The icon size is bigger. The background's on. You get a background color. All these different options. Then you can turn it off and it switches all of these different things off. Or you can go with custom, which has like a variety of things turned on just as visual aids. And then you go from there. They also get into the color modes. So these are the default colors used for the interface and subtitles. And you start off with the default. Then there's, I'm going to butcher these pronunciations probably, folks, but the Protonopia, which is it sets the color range preset at Protonopia. It changes the colors of the text, speaker name, and text colors. Then there's Deuteranopia and Tritanopia. So I'm not an expert on different versions of colorblind. So this is all, I don't really know what all of these mean, but I'm glad that they're there. This is one of the things that I just want to point out. And then we get into cognitive. And I think this is one of the areas where the game provides you, in my opinion, the cognitive and gameplay options in particular are really geared towards providing every single player out there the agency to create the exact experience they want out of Star Wars Outlaws. So these are basically, as it says here, it's a group of common settings that give extra guidance, make text clearer, reduce how much you need to think about things or how quickly you need to react. The stealth difficulty and etc. can all be changed to this setting menus later, of course. So for me, one of the things that I didn't mind when I first started playing the game was the lockpicking with the data spikes, but it's pulse based, so you're having to pull the trigger based upon a time. You can turn that off, and so instead of having to pulse it in time with a pattern, you just pulse it 2 or 3 times and it opens up the door, which makes it so that anyone can complete the lockpicking component without it turning into an impossible minigame for people who might not necessarily be able to press. Now, I'm not in any way, shape, or form, I don't know the word that is politically correct. I don't have any disabilities / handicaps. But as an example, my trigger finger, I ripped the tendon off last year, and I spent about 8 months in recovery for this. And I still have, if I have prolonged use with this finger, it hurts. And also I don't have the reaction time that I used to have with this finger. I am in a reduced capacity. So being able to reduce things in game that require me to pull this trigger finger as often as possible, that's a big thing for me. So after the lockpicking wore off, it's, you uniqueness to me. I was like, I'm happy to just turn that part of it off because I don't need to be pulsing all the time and missing. I just want to get past that. There's also things like turning off slicing attempts. I definitely turned off the when you're firing your blaster, there's a point where your blaster overheats and you get a window that pops up where in which you're supposed to try to pulse again within this window where the meter's moving up and down, and if you miss it, it takes forever to reload because you're overheated. You can turn that off so that the game automatically does the cooldown for you perfectly every time, so you get the maximum amount of blaster effort out of your fire. I turned that on as soon as I found out about that because it allows me to have a seamless gameplay experience. I don't want the extra challenge of having to like cool down my blaster in the middle of a firefight. Other people do, and I'm glad that the options exist for people to be able to go in here and do all the things that you want to do to be able to customize the game. And then there's the gameplay aspects, which your base gameplay experience can be adjusted through the Explorer, Adventurer, Outlaw, or Scoundrel mode. How hard do you want it? There's also the motor presets, which are things like, do you want prompts for Nyx to be on? Do you want to always be sprinting? Like, all of these things are in here if you want them. And then there's also a camera preset options, which does things like motion blur intensity, motion blur per object, chromatic aberration, the center dot, things of that nature. So there's lots of different presets that you can go in and tweak. And then beyond this, once you're actually in the game, which we'll go ahead and log in real quick and show you what I'm talking about. Once you're actually logged in, you can go into the settings and you can further adjust these things to your desired settings. So I think I'm trying to think back in recent years. I know Last of Us 2 had a lot of really cool accessibility options as well for people. Because once you're in here, you can go into the settings and go into the accessibility presets, and you can see this same menu right here, but then you go into as an example, you've got gameplay controls, display and graphics, and all this other stuff, user interface. But you can go in here to gameplay, and now you can start tweaking, all these tiny little bits of the game to give you, like, do you always want to be sprinting so that you don't have to manually click it? I'm probably going to turn that on, to be honest with you, because I'm tired of clicking to have to sprint. I would rather just always be sprinting. Then there's the visual elements like screen shake, view angle when aiming. You want stylized numerals when playing Sabacc. Do you want mini cheats, tips, and all this other stuff? Here's the lockpicking rhythm challenge. I turn that off completely. There's the slicing attempts thing, which you can turn off completely if you don't want to deal with the slicing anymore. This is just, you can completely turn off the puzzle and just slice. And to be honest with you, I've done enough of those. I'm probably just going to turn that off moving forward. There's the street food challenges and what do you want the difficulty on those to be, and fast talk challenges. I mean, there's all these different settings that you can go in and choose. So I definitely think that Massive and Ubisoft deserve a lot of praise for the accessibility options in Star Wars Outlaws, because it enables anyone to have the Star Wars experience that they want to have, regardless of whatever needs they might have. Or if there's someone like me who just wants to adjust things to suit their own particular style of gameplay. Player agency is key, and they have nailed it here. I'm having a lot of fun. Hopefully you're having a lot of fun. Hopefully we'll see you in the next live stream or video. Daily streams happen here and on Twitch at 11 a.m. Central, and a lot of other times. I stream lots, so I also do a lot of stuff here. So check it all out. Don't forget the Discord and all of the socials. We'll see you in the next one, everybody. Stay safe, and may the Force be with you.